Good morning. Please be seated. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is Donovan dressed so differently this morning? And it is because I've been asked to preach on what is now the first of what's called Religious Life Sundays. The church has decided that after some 150 plus years of religious orders of one kind or another existing in the Episcopal Church, it might be a good idea to raise awareness that they exist. So I'm a brother of St. Gregory, a friar, and we have about 50 brothers in that particular group. It's one of 32 religious communities in the Episcopal Church and was founded in 1969, so fairly recently. It has its own rule of life. Others use a Benedictine or other versions of long existing rules of life. So there are 18 what are called traditional orders and 14 Christian communities, of which the Brotherhood is one, in the Episcopal Church. And some people ask, the Episcopal Church has monks, nuns, brothers, and sisters? Yes, we do indeed, and have had for all that time. Brother Michael David was visiting a church down in southern Florida, and he was wearing essentially what I'm wearing as he was at the service and came out the front door, and a woman stopped him and said, "Why are you wearing that?" And he said, "Well, I'm a brother of a religious group in the Episcopal Church." And she looked him up and down, and she said, the Episcopal Church does not have religious. Oh, very interesting. The difference between orders and Christian communities, as the church sees these two different groups. An order are usually live together and are what we call enclosed. They spend most of the time at their headquarters, their monastery or their convent. They commit to vows or promises for a term of years, to hold possessions in common or in trust. They live a celibate life in community. They obey their rule and constitution. And that would be Canon 314, Section 1A through G, for those of you who like the legalities of things. Other groups, the other group, Christian communities, commit for life or a term of years to their rule and constitution. And their rule may entail life in community, common property, or celibacy, but not necessarily require these. And the Brotherhood does not. And that's the same canon in Section 2, A through G. And we have also what are called solitaries. Individuals can be set apart for a special vocation by a rite in the Book of Occasional Services. And that's Section 3 of that same canon. And those of you who may remember Sue Voorhees, Sue was a solitary. She was working with and a very frequent visitor to the convent of St. Mary up in Peekskill, New York. And those individuals are set aside by a rite in the Book of Occasional Services. So, for all of these to be recognized by the Episcopal Church, all the communities need at least 6 professed or full members, must be approved or registered with the Standing Committee on Religious Communities of the House of Bishops. They also need what's known as a bishop visitor or a protector, and that's either a bishop of the diocese where their mother house or headquarters is located, or a bishop who serves with the approval of that diocesan. So this visitor is guardian of the community's constitution and acts as an arbiter in matters the community cannot settle on its own. And some communities of religious in the New England area, St. John the Evangelist, the Sisters of St. Anne Bethany, Sisters of St. Margaret, and my community, the Brotherhood of St. Gregory, and the Order of the Holy Cross in West Park, New York. So we stepped outside of New England for that one. The rule you may be curious about of vows. A brother makes the vow of poverty by dedicating a major portion of the fruit of his labor, or his labor for that matter, to the church and the brotherhood. A brother makes a vow of chastity as follows. Chastity is the decision to live with all in love, with respect for each person's integrity. Chastity is the decision to live with all in love. It is not a denial of one's sexuality and capacity for love, but a dedication of the whole self to God, free from indecency or offensiveness and restrained from all excess, in order to be free to love others without trying to possess or control. And a brother makes a vow of obedience to Jesus Christ as his only Lord and Savior, to the discipline of the Episcopal Church, the provisions of the rule of the brotherhood, and to the minister general and other pastoral officials as appropriate. And the rule goes on to talk about the life of a brother, the life of the brotherhood, the work of the brotherhood, common worship, private devotion, individual renewal, work as an apostolate. I have brought some materials along that you may find interesting if that is something that you would care to have a further look at. So, the Brotherhood, we're a group of friars, and we live independently or two or more together under a common rule. We meet twice yearly for annual convocation and for winter convocation. And years ago, at the request of several women, we founded a women's community, the Sisters of St. Gregory, which met with us for several years and then became independent when they met their membership goal. So I've been a brother for about 37 or 38 years. It's a very interesting way of life. Certainly becoming aware of much more that happens in the broader church with all of the brothers in various places. I take part in lots of church events here and in other places. I do try very hard to stay keeping the rule. It's been a great joy. I live independently. I earned my own income for most of those years, and I've been retired for the last 15 on pension. It gives me some flexibility to do a lot of things. So you'll see me around. If you would like to talk with me at any point about this, I'm happy to. And I love sharing worship right here. How does a person become a brother in this community of which I'm part? You find out about it You communicate with some of the brothers. Me, as I'm here, I'm the only one in Maine. So the others are spread from here to the Philippines and Australia. It's interesting getting us all together, or as many as possible together. The annual convocation is the heavily attended one. As I say, twice a year, winter and summer, we all, as many as can, meet together. So you visit the Brotherhood. You can become a postulant, which is a person who's asking a question, is this the right kind of place and life for me? You then may become the postulant, as I say. You ask the question. You postulate. You ask the question, is this right? And if you and the Brotherhood agree that it is, then you can become a novice, a beginner, and you begin to live the life, but without taking vows. You make a promise to try to follow them, and then as time goes along, you can take your first vows, annual vows they're now called, and renew those vows every year, or at some point you can decide that you would like to live this way for the rest of your life, and you encounter what's called life profession or life vows. We have a daily version, an app, so-called, of morning, noonday, and evening prayer and Compline, which we can put onto our cell phones and do. And if you're interested, I can share that with, if you give me your email address. And I will spread some information on the table of, in the parish hall or in the sunroom, and be there for questions if you're interested in any more information. There are lots of single copies there, so please don't carry anything off unless I say, gee, that's okay, there are multiples. We have another service to do today. Thank you.
Now let us stand and affirm our faith with the